CEO of Metalexis. I'm the moderator for this session on digitalization of commodities, the steps that you should be taking now. Mr. Dheeraj is also joined in. Hello, Mr. Dheeraj. So
Thank you.
I've just started the panel discussion. For our discussion
Ji.
today, we have a great panel with us, who I would first like to introduce before starting the discussion. First of all, we have Mr. Monir Al Sharif. Hello, Mr. Monir Sharif.
Hello,
He's, I think,
everybody.
the poster boy of Middle East scrap trade and managing director of Sharif Metals, Sharif Metals executive board member and head of dispute resolving committee bureau of Middle East recycling. Mr. Monir has 36 years of field experience in business and joined the family business in 1985. He serves as the managing partner, managing day-to-day operations, working with existing clients and winning new accounts. Graduated in 2009 from Wales University, Masters of Business Administration in Human Resources and Management. Second, we have a match for him, Mr. Sandeep Jain, Senior Vice President, Bombay Metal Exchange Limited. Hello, Sandeep ji, how are you? He's a director in Bombay Metal Exchange since 2006. He is managing director in Laurel Wire Industries, manufacturer of animal copper wire, having collaboration with Australian company Typelise Australia Pty since 1995. He is an MBA International Business, University of Western Sydney, Australia, representing Bombay Metal Exchange in MCX, BSc, NSE, SEBI, and many other government departments. Wow, that's a great job.
Thank you.
Now we have the big stalwart, one of the first, the biggest company in India and maybe world over, Hindustan Zinc Limited. Mr. Aprame Saxena, Head Exports, Hindustan Zinc Limited. Hello, Mr. Aprame.
Hello, thank you.
Mr. Aprame Saxena is currently heading the international marketing for Hindustan Zinc Limited. In the 12 years of his career, he has had extensive experience in marketing of zinc, lead, and silver. He has keen interest in digitization and automation and has been instrumental in bringing out the e-commerce portal of Hindustan Zinc, the Evolve, the new platform that they've recently launched. Then we have our own Mr. Dheeraj Khandelwal, a chartered accountant, promoter and mentor of Trade Report. Hello, Mr. Dheeraj. He's a chartered accountant since 1998 and is a proactive and influential member of various professional and social bodies. He was elected as a member of Central Council of ICAI for a term of 2016 to 2019 and was re-elected for the term 2019 to 2021. He has an experience of more than 20 years in the trading business of industrial commodities like metals and minerals. He has clients based in the Middle East, Mediterranean, Europe, Southeast Asia. He also has managed logistics, treasury, forex, and accounts functions and has an expertise in generating returns by investing excess funds. I hope we also expect Mr. Jagdish Ramaswamy. He is Chief Digital Officer Hindalco, but for some reason he said that he may or may not be able to join. Maybe he will try and join in as a little later. So the moment he joins in, we will introduce him also. Now I would like Mr. Monir Al Sharif to start the dialogue with his views for about 3 to 4 minutes. Mr. Monir, over to you now.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, and it's a pleasure to have this gathering on the virtual meeting. And from the Middle East, from Dubai precisely, we are chatting with you. And on the subject of the conference, today's session, we are talking about digitalization of business process, which is now the only solution for business to sustain and to have stability in this digital market where we compare what used to be done in the old days, like say 20, 25 years ago. And nowadays, people, I remember there was a saying that in 1960, there was a saying that after some times, where for them it is an imagination, after some times you will be able to talk with people abroad across the countries instantly, and people were not believing that. So where we came up with the mobile, and later on we came with the chat windows. So what we are talking about digitalization, it is nothing very far. We are already in the digitalization market. And if you look at the uh, any kind of business happening in our industry, whether it is metal recycling or in accounting or engineering or any type of business, you cannot work without having a digital reference for all your data or your processes. And continuing doing that, I remember in UAE in the few years ago, they were still accepting the transfers on a letterhead to be signed physically by the account holder. But there was a restriction 2 years back that this will be stopped. So it was a little bit shock for certain people, and it was a pleasant information for the other people that all the transfers has to be digitalized from your account to wherever you want to transfer, whether locally or internationally. And that has come to a level. Here you can transfer all your business transaction from your mobile device, whether you are in the office or in the car or anywhere. So when we talk about digitalization, we can trade online, we can transfer shipment from a place to a place around the world online. We can make any agreement or contract or making a joint venture online. You can establish a trade license in 2 hours online. Recently, which as Mr. Sandeep said, there is a marriage now going, celebration parties with the different places in a Zoom or in a conference gathering with a big screen, like everybody is having the wedding online, of course not physically, but that is for the party. Talking about communications, talking about accounting or banking, or even for the ministry on all the levels, it is all happening online, and online means it is a digital market. We cannot go back to the normal days as our ancients, like our grandfather, were doing before. We are moving forward. We can see around the world, due to the pandemic, the studies for the juniors to the university level to the high studies, it's also going online. You can see online book reading. You can have all your even accounts reconciliation with a client, with a bank, with the books, all is happening online. On the other hand, supporting the online business, there is a security. Now, you cannot do the business online or on digital without having a proper security, because as well as we develop from one side, there is the other side who are also developing to try to penetrate. So when we talk about security online, it becomes a big business in terms of government or semi-government or private or public share companies, protecting the database, protecting the transactions, protecting the privacy and the money transactions. I believe in the coming few years, you will have no paper to sign for the bank. Even the checks will be managed in a different way without having the physical signature. And if you talk about production, nowadays, comparing to the old days, people were having wages, salaries, but in the digital market, I believe now has been changed to a different concept, which is kind of contract-based job on a production, which is wages. So whenever we process like importing material, it goes for transportation, the wages for the contractor of transporter. He submits his papers, it goes a credit to his account for certain amount which was pre-agreed. For the offloading people, workers, if it is manual or mechanized, there is also a wage which has to be multiplying the quantity with the agreed rate that goes in their ledger. And similarly on the processing, manual processing or machinery processing, production, all goes in a wages basis. So that goes also at the end of the month. We don't have to see who's attending, who's not. It is a production base and digitalized. At the end, the people takes their salary in their accounts, and that's the what we call it, the digitalized life. Even in the home, you can operate all your home instruments by a mobile device. You can operate your car, find your devices wherever you put a tag on it. So I would say the digitalized market, it becomes a lifestyle for us. And I forgot to add one thing. Now look at the shopping, which comparing the old days to now, people used to go having a trip for travel, for marketing, shopping, I mean. And now you can make the shopping online while you're sitting in the house on the screen, big screen. You can see all the options, food deliveries, transportation, like the on-call cars, naming of some of them, like Uber and Kareem, and more other names. So lifestyle has changed. We have to evolve ourselves and we have to accept the change. Otherwise, we will be left behind. And whoever is working on the old style fashion bookkeeping, it can be maintained, but I highly recommend people to take some courses on how to do things on a digital manner. I hope I covered certain points of our lifestyle concern about the digitalization, and it's an open session for discussion and review. Thank you for the time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Monir. I think you've rightly covered everything, right from food to production to labor contractor to salary to issuing of checks and banking and everything. So I think what you say is what we are also thinking of. But now I would like to give the mic to Mr. Aprame. Kindly give your views for about 4 to 5 minutes. And then second round would be after Sandeep ji and Dheeraj speak, we will start the question answer session. Over to Mr. Aprame.
Thank you, Mr. Madia. Such a pleasure to be here. About digitization, what I'm speaking from a manufacturing side and manufacturing company point of view. It is not possible to have digitization in one particular department or a practice. I think digitization has to be accepted by an organization as a culture. It is not possible that you say that my selling side of it or my buying side of it is digitized, but I don't have something as basic or maybe as complex as an in-house ERP system. So this digitization culture is something that has to settle, because if you have many systems and if you have many IT systems and different fancy solutions, what happens is that most of the time we see the utilization is pretty dismal. And over a period of time, the organization realizes, what is this bill? Why are we paying for this, this particular software or this particular service? So why to have it? So I think at a company like Hindustan Zinc, what we do is that we consider digitization as one of our key pillars. And whether it is mining, whether it is smelting, whether it is manufacturing core process, or safety, or marketing or purchase, the digitization is there everywhere. And without it, you should not be able to function. Otherwise, you will have parallel manual bypass of everything. You can say, I have this system, but if this does not work, I will do it without it as well. That kind of thing does not help. So I think digitization for the sake of it never helps, and it's a journey that the organization has to take as a change management, which is the most difficult thing to do. As far as the uh, digitization in commodity is concerned, uh, it's not just the online sales. I mean, online sales is one part of it. We have had online sales from quite a few times. I remember that we have been doing a lot of sales through our self-service portal. Customers can just log in and book their order. But I think it is also very important to have your vendors and your partners with you. For example, if you have a very good digital system, but if you are lacking in the basic infrastructure or the material availability, or the location of your depots, whether they are at a strategic places or not, the digitization will not help. So I think any digitization project or any digitization has to be driven by very clear business objectives. It cannot be an IT project. It has to be a business project where there are certain business drivers which tell you why you need this project. Otherwise, it's not to have digitization everywhere, right? But if you've decided that this is what I want to achieve, then that project should achieve all those business outcomes. They can be as simple as profitability, increasing your market penetration, reach, or giving a better customer service. But I think the main the main thing that any kind of digitization provides is the governance, and that underlines most of the digitization projects, because we want to have a watertight system where the system can control the how part of it, process part of it, right? And the humans in the system can really concentrate things which are more important. So in marketing, I would say partnership with the customer is more important, not just selling the material and getting the money, right? Let someone else do that. Let an automatic software do that, right? Automate it as much as possible. So then, of course, have audits and all, but it's wrong to see things just for the sake of audit. Audit is nothing but a reassurance of your processes. Once we know that there is a system which will monitor whatever you do, then you are not worried about explaining how this happened and why this happened. And people who are from metal industry and commodity market, they understand very well that these are relationship based businesses. Generally, when you do a deal, there are 1 or 2 persons talking to each other. So as an organization, even my shareholders should be very happy that this organization has a process by which we know that nothing can go wrong, and if something goes wrong, it will be caught, right? So I think that is the all-encompassing need of digitization, which is the governance and everything. And coming to marketing department and digitization of commodities, whether marketing or purchase also, the business objectives might be different for different organization, but it can provide a few of those things. It's very important to lay them out and tell that this is what we want to achieve. So this I speak from my experience in our organization, where we have taken digitization as a culture, and we keep learning. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening.
Great, Mr. Aprame. You've given it a new dimension altogether. What you're trying to say is that digitization should be taken as a culture, as in the organization as a whole, and not to achieve 1 or 2 small things like increasing sales or increasing profit. It is basically watertight. And I can understand, because you being a very big corporate, so you would definitely want all to have all these systems in place where there are no errors. And if there are errors, the digitization or the tracking will find out where the errors were and who is responsible for that. Good. So now I will hand over the mic to Mr. Sandeep. Kindly put in your views for about 4 to 5 minutes. Thank you
Thank you,
so much.
Sunil ji, and good afternoon to all the dignitaries, panelists. Uh, just to introduce my association, I'm associated with Bombay Metal Exchange as a senior vice president. It's one of the apex body of non-ferrous metals trade and industry since 1933. And BME is dedicated for the welfare of non-ferrous metals community comprising manufacturers, traders, wholesalers, and retailers. Uh, most of the points are already covered by Monir and Pramay. Just to put some light on digitization of commodity trading. Uh, Digitization is, reshaping commodity trading at an accelerating pace, and the players are investing substantial resources to develop critical capabilities. So basically, now what has happened actually, like MSMEs in India, I mean, that's a very big number. I think this pandemic has also, forced all the small and medium enterprises to go into digitalization in many places, actually, many ways. So it is creating more and more efficient platform. And then in digitization in the business world is mainly, like it helps in having flexibility in work, basically innovation and communications and those things actually through various means. And basically now the transparency has increased, then prevention of fraud and those things have minimized actually because of digitization and adaptation of blockchain technology in future, actually that will help more and more in order to make one very efficient. So basically, I think all other points are already covered. So let's move ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandeep,
Thank you.
for making it very short and sweet.
Yeah.
So now I would, Mr. Dheeraj, we've got three completely not diverse, but Mr. Monir has said right from buying food to doing any manufacturing activity to manufacturing and everything needs digitization. Mr. Aprame says that as a corporate strategy, digitization is a must. And Mr. Sandeep ji says that for fraud prevention, for innovation, blockchain and other technologies are a must. So, what would you like to talk about the whole thing, the digitization and blockchain, for about? Then we'll start with the question and answer session. Please, Mr. Dheeraj.
Thank you, Sunilji. I think, on my earlier predecessor, Moni Bhai and Aparme Sunilji has very rightly said that digital is now a compulsory things. It's not without digital. And rightly said, where
Just one, Mr. Sandeep and Monir, can you please switch off your mics? I think.
So I think very rightly said by the Munir Bhai and Aparme, now the digital is our become of the life. So it's on our DNA. It's like oxygen for any. Mention here is that when we are having a business, while doing the business, you need a fund, and now being have a fund, you need a technology also, with sustain. And here is digitalization is nothing. It's just a commercial process. The business is the same. Business, it's require the digitalization. It's making a efficiency in the system. You need to have the efficiency in the system, bringing the digitalization. You need to have a better communication skill, digitalization. You need to have a better service to all your client using the digitalizations, and that is called is a transformation in the entire area. We are having businesses across the world. Now the business is already there. We need to see in the different angle. Likely, rightly said by the Munibhai, digitalization happened in the accounts, finance, banking, and any more. And now Aparna has said in the now it's now we need to deal upon the digitalization in the trade. Telecom we have seen in the trade, it's now not a dream, it's become a reality. In the trades, the digitalizations happened. Previously, the trade which were happening were not confirmed by the people whether it's right or wrong. Like in the accounts, you are booking your expense or your income in your account. I am not aware of it, or you are not aware of it. By having a digitalization, having a blockchain, people of the buyer and seller are in the conformity. You have buy and sell it. So it's a confirmation. It's a real-time confirmation. Otherwise, you used to take a time, for a week or 10 days time for making a confirmation and making reconciliations. So same way in the trade, buying and selling and all confirmation and signature, everything is digitalized. It become now it's mandatory, and that's how I say that digitalization is a oxygen for the business. And rightly mentioned by Sandeep ji, the blockchain is paving the way to the entire business, and artificial intelligence is making a stars and points for the better customer reaction and customer services. I want to highlight in the digitalizations in the commodity business. Being my family also having my business, having the business, I'm also connected to business of my family. Coal, I've seen a lot of issues, lot of frauds which cannot be avoided, which cannot be, but in the operations, having a digitalization, it's now eliminating the entire fraud. Now it's replacing the email system. Digitalization having the number of blocks. So it's each of walk of life, everything can be digitalized. In same way, each way of entire trade, entire end-to-end trade, from procurement to consumption to everything can be digitalized. So digitalized have a different process. For each process, you need to digitalize. So I believe digitalization is a must, and the trade which we are happening, whether it's a import or domestic or any kind of trade which are happening, has to be utilized with the technology where we can bring a efficiency in the system and eliminate the incumbents process and making a good customer services. That's called digitalization.
Thank you, Mr. Dheeraj, for your views and overall the importance of digitalization. I would like to now go back to Mr. Monir. Mr. Monir, I would ask you a very simple question. In terms of a metal trader or an importer exporter based out of Dubai or Gulf countries, what would you feel? Or suppose I ask, what would attract Mr. Monir or people like Mr. Monir or businessmen like Mr. Monir to join such a platform or to adopt such technology? What would be important for you that the technology gives you, whereby you will be attracted to such new technologies? Digitalization is one thing. Now we are talking specifically of the technology, how they can be used by scrap importer exporter.
Okay,
Kindly throw some highlight.
thank you. Our living standards has changed when we live in a place improving the culture and encouraging to adopt the digital life. Example, we are living in a place in Dubai where the government itself has converted all their processes, and I mean all in all means. When you go to chamber department, Ministry of Economics, if you go to Ministry of Interior, if you go to the Land Department, if you go to Economic Department, you will find nobody there to deal with. except a very few people, and they will tell you go apply online. If I need to import some cargo, I have to submit my documents on their portal. So I get the clearance. I give it to the driver on the transport company. I send it to them on their portal or in their communication channel. They don't meet us to go and come to pick up a paper or something. It goes to the port to pick up the documents or the cargo and bring it here. If you apply for a tenancy contract, for a land, for a warehouse, for a place to have an office, you don't have to go physically there. You just apply online. Then your company establishment is done. Visas is done online. Import is done online. Delivery is done online. The paper process. And then if you want to export it again, after processing the cargo or after manufacturing the material, then you have to log it in a certain warehouse where you have to have a proper accounting software. Again, we're talking about digital offices. On the export declaration, export documents, you have to follow the procedure, apply, and you get approval, you go. Even for hiring inspectors from the custom officers to inspect at the time of export. You know, import has inspection, export has inspection. That export inspection as well, online request, you will wait for the queue to get the unknown person. It's a number, it's a person will come and do the inspection without knowing his name. They will tell you the inspector will be attending the containers inspection at the port zone number so-and-so for the containers so-and-so on dates and time. So here you are only dealing with the screen, not with the physical people. We have practiced, all of us around the world, the work from home. And we were surprised in the beginning. It was unacceptable, but now it becomes more joyful and more entertaining. So working from distance, people are thinking now, why do we have a physical office? Why should we keep physical offices as big? Okay, small should be there somehow to a certain limit, but they don't have to keep floors and layers of floors for people to work physically. I got a piece of news that one of the biggest IT company in the world, they made it compulsory as a rule of their attendance to work from home. No need to come to offices. In Dubai as well, there is several companies, without mentioning names, international names across the ocean. They have branches here. They don't work from the offices. Even if there is a meeting, they do it on the laptop or on the mobile meetings. Imagine how life become doing the work, all of what you do of 8, 9, or 10 hours while sitting on the couch in the house. This meeting, we used to travel, book visa, ticket, and hotel and everything to meet in such conferences. Now we are doing it while we are sitting in the office and we finish other work as well, or from the home. I happen to visit the office because I have in my blood, I cannot sit at home all the day. So I have to go out sometimes, even if I have nothing. So I'm visiting the office. Actually, there is nothing urgent, but I have to visit, feel that office space and what I used to do before. Maybe in the next generation, our children, they will have no offices. They will work from home. Their office will be a small desk in the house, and the rest will be having the work on and off whenever they are required. I have my son has joined a big audit house company in Dubai. It's an international audit house. From the day one, they told him, come in just at least to know whom we are dealing with. The next day, they told him, work from home for the last few months. And he's a fresher joining that audit house. So coming back to our industry, if I do hedging, I only do it online on a phone call or on the screen. If I do money transfer, no more paper back and forth to the bank. You have a token or you have access on the mobile with the OTP, and that's what is going to happen nowadays. It has reduced drastically the depending on physical movement as used to happen before. For example, if we talk about transporting from Sharjah to Dubai, where people are, some of them living in Sharjah, working in Dubai, the empty road drive distance, it's around 12 kilometers, where in the open roads, you can reach from a place to another place between Dubai and Sharjah in 5 to 10 minutes maximum. In the congestion time, where morning people are moving to their offices, it takes 1.5 hours to reach there. I'm thinking also in Mumbai or in some other congested places as similar. After the pandemic, we saw that people are working from home and the road has become more cleaner, more empty, easy to travel for anybody who wants to pick up or to have something urgent to do and come back. No more stuck on the road. Schools are doing online. I can see my family all the time around me, unlike before. Before, people are going out and doing the study from 7 until 2 or 3. Now we can see them in the morning. We can have a breakfast with them comfortable. While they are studying, they have a break in between. In the offices, whenever we need to meet for a conference, we can have it online, or if we have the option to visit physical. Now, talking about even the audit house, we do audit with certain company. Those companies used to come and send their employees to check our books and certain procedures. Now we give them access online on our view database. They can audit these things and they ask supporting documents online, scan and send, or whatever. They have a folder or shared folders or certain way to share the receipts, and we get the comments from them remotely, and that's completing the cycle of the business. We are very happy. Of course, as Mr. Abrami say, we cannot have everything digitalized. There should be some human interference in certain way. I agree with that point. If I understood you correctly, Mr. Abrami, it has to be a culture in the company. It has to be digitalized, but you cannot expect everything to be digitalized. There should be a human touch at the end, even dealing with the people, dealing with the customers. There is a relation we have to keep. It cannot be dry. And one incident happened a few years ago. If I have more time, Mr. Sadi.
So I think Mr. Munir Bhai, I can add on him. Very rightly said by the Munir Bhai.
Yeah,
Now things
yeah,
need
please.
to be done on the digitalized way while sitting at home. So now it's required of the virtual concepts. So the trader or business community, which used to be, goes to the office or do the working, now everything can be sitting at home. So while in the trading also, like in the by stock market option, you buy the sell by anywhere you are, whether you are. Same way in the commodity, in the physical business also you can do it from home. It's required all the process. What you were doing it currently, you can have a replacement of email. What suppose if I'm doing the business with the Money, he's sitting in the Dubai and I'm sitting in India, or I'm importing or exporting it, we need to create a contract which we can do it, and the contract can be done it on the online platform itself, and the platform which can interact each others togetherly, and in the platform we can complete, negotiate, finalize entire contract, and we can sign a digital contract itself. No need of the physical, take a printout, take a convert to the PDF and then send it. So no need of it. It's on the blockchain. It can be very easily, and it's traceable. It's a EML audit can be done it. So this is while sitting at virtual. No need to go off home or office. You can do the transaction. Now the things you require, which is a important aspect, is bank. Whilst most of the banks are providing a digital platform, you can make a payment digitally, or if the cross-border transactions are happening, you can open up the LC on your platform while sitting at home itself. No need to apply. You can apply on the platform, and things can rotate. And without any courier or any charges, transaction can be complete while sitting at home or virtually. So that's the transaction going to be there. And very rightly said the Munir bhai, now digital is the future in the commodity, because you need to give a efficiency and eliminate the incumbents process.
Thank you, Mr. Dheeraj, thank you, Mr. Monir's. I think we have lost Mr. Monir. He should be back. I would request Mr. Aprame to kindly tell us something about the evolve or the digitization that Hindustan Zinc has adopted, and how it will help the MSME sector or the MSME buyers and sellers in India. Mr. Aprame.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, e-commerce is something, when we talk about digitization, we generally tend to think that e-commerce is something for fast-moving consumer goods, or certainly not commodities, so certainly not metals. But what we feel is that whether it is B2B business or B2C business, you are dealing with humans, right? So whatever appeals to you on an Amazon, it also appeals to you when you go and buy metal. So with this thought, we have launched Evolve, and the beauty of it is that it is on a live price, right? So it is a live, transparent price for everyone. And even if you buy a 1 metric ton of zinc or lead, or even 1 kg of silver, then you can do that. And how we have achieved is by also managing our risk through digital platform. So I'm sure everyone is doing this, that when you want to place an order with a broker, you go to his website or application and you place your order. But then also what you're doing is that you're manually punching that order. What we have done is that even that step is not required. As soon as a delivery order is placed on Evolve, the hedging order or the buy order automatically goes to the broker, who is JP Morgan in our case, and it is automatically purchased. And all this happens within 50 seconds to 1 minute, from order placement to automatic hedging, without any manual intervention at any stage. And not 25-ton pricing lot, because LME is a 25-ton pricing lot, right? So no 25 metric ton pricing lot is required. There are enough brokers in the market who are ready to give broken lot hedging. This is called broken lot because lot is broken. So that's where it helps even the smallest of buyers, that if you need 1 ton or 2 ton of metal, right, this month, then you don't need to go and buy and negotiate for 25 metric ton, right? You can just go to the platform, buy your 1 ton, use it. If you need more, because you cannot predict demand that well, go again and buy it again. and you can be assured that you will get at a price which everyone else is getting, because price is there for everyone. It's not customized to customers. So I think in that way, it also frees your very valuable working capital, because for a small customer, in fact, for any customer, I think working capital is something which is always very valuable. Otherwise, how will you grow, right? So it frees up that, it gives you whatever you want, and it gives transparency. And I think even the smallest of customers, if you ask him and what he wants, he would say, I want that transparency. I want to know why it is at that price, and what is that price, and at what price others are buying. So I think he deserves that price transparency. So he gets this transparency, and he also gets the metal, and we manage the risk. So this is another point of digitization which we have done with Evolve, is that we have managed the risk with complete automation.
Great, Mr. Aprame. I am very delighted to know that there is something at last. Hindustan Zinc is doing something for the small companies and the MSME buyers and all that. Because what I heard previously, that you were giving more advantages or more. Of course, you had that the bigger the customer, the more discounts he gets and all that. But now with this transparency, I feel that more and more people will be able to buy from Hindustan Zinc Limited. Now, I would like to ask
Mr.
Mr.
Madia,
Dheeraj.
Mr. Madia, I would like
Yeah,
to
please.
respond to that.
Did I hurt you? Did
No,
I
not
hurt you? Sorry.
not at all, not at all. But Mr. Madia, I would
Please.
like to respond to that in 30 seconds. Is that these are the kinds of things which you cannot reply by saying, if there is a
Yes.
perception. See, it is very important not to be just to be right, but also to be
Yeah.
perceived right. So if that is a perception that you had,
Okay.
and not at all hurt, because that is a perception. And if this was a perception, these kinds of perceptions can be only be answered by a platform like Evolve. You do something which proves that
Yes.
this is what we believe. So
Which
that's
proves. Very true. No, very true. So nice of you. So nice of you. I would like to put in a simple question to me, Mr. Dheeraj. Suppose, I mean, this is basically Dheeraj and then Sandeep. I would like to answer the same question. Whether, suppose from India, there is a small buyer, MSME unit, or a small importer, exporter. What is the advantage that he would join such a blockchain type of platforms, and how he can join such platforms? Will it be very easy for him? Will it be difficult for him? Are there monthly costs? Are there, what kind of platforms are available, and how will a small importer manufacturer join such a platform? Mr. Dheeraj first.
I think technology is continuously evolving, and as of now, the technology is
I
limited.
think Mr. No, I think just one second. Hindustan Zinc is getting good marketing. We are using the word evolve every now and then. Please, Dheeraj, please.
Basically, I said that technology is evolving technology. It's continuously, giving a more efficiency in the system. As of now, being a few players are there, and being reached to the big corporate house, the MSME has to be reached. But I believe that MSME, only the people can take a more advantage than the other people, because they are looking a common pool kind of technology which they cannot develop it. They can use such kind of the available market product, and can take, have a efficiency in the system, and the money is always matter, so they can improve their working capital requirements. In my personal belief is that in technology in the commodity brings the efficiency and improve the working capital requirement. In the working, as rightly said by the Aparna, small process, it's boost their working capital. Like they are in their, they are improving in the buying system, bin system, because first order quantity and immediate, you take the, so less involvement in the investment of the price. I'm talking about different thing. He is talking about, of course, this is the digital part, and I'm further beyond that. Suppose the person are buying it from across the world and involving the LC limit. involving the LC, I believe that in the edge of now, in the current market scenario, you need to go to the bank. It will take 2 or 3 days time to open the LC, and then after for the acceptance, the material has to sit by the exporter. Exporter has to have a invoice generation. Then the shipping has to be invoice generation. Then the inspection department has to the inspection certificate, then custom certificate. Then all the things go to the advising bank. Advising bank going to check. It will take again time, and then they will check and they will courier it to the issuing bank again, 4 5 days. And after getting it again, the issuing bank, it will take 2 days time to review it and accept it. And then after it again, the importer, those who buy who issue the LC, who will take 1 or 2 days time. So it's a process. If we utilize a LC format and a common pool document management system, which we call in the blockchain system, then entire process can be eliminated. If I can say that entire this process, my calculations goes that in any kind of LC, from entire end to end, it's take minimum to minimum 15 days time. And by using the technology, it can eliminate to 1 hour or 2 hours, and people can be there. So that's bring the real efficiency in the system and bring the working capital. Suppose I'm telling the digitalization for the exporter. The exporter used to get the payment after 15 days. That's for them is a LC requirement. If they has to wait for 15 days. Capital management is but was a different. So now the exporter are getting immediately once the vessel is loaded and all the document is loaded, within an hour he's getting the money in hand. So efficiency, that's called. So it's bringing 50 to $1 in efficiency in the trade. Suppose in the importer, if they are using the LC limit and they are blocking for 15 to 20 days time in the bank, and they are not getting it in hand, they are restricted to the turnover where less turnover. If I had the more business, I can utilize more credit facility. So for here also, curtailing the time is benefiting the importer. Even for the banks also, if they utilize this such kind of the solution, blockchain based solution, they will get the more interest. So these are the digitalization efficiency in the process. And same way, MSME, I'm telling you, sir, as of now, the exporter, those are making exports are made on the they taking LC, they might be on the credit. If they are using the credit 30 days, 60 days credit, I'm telling you, sir, how the fund going to be there? They are not getting the fund. Banks are, bleeding. Banks are not funding them. How they can fund? But having a technological advantage, you can get entire transaction covered with the insurance. It's called trade credit insurance, and that insurance can be funded by any banks. So it's called trade credit finance. So a lot of evolvements going to be there by using the technology. Every system is digitalized. You can check the buyer, who's the seller. Entire KYC can be there in the system itself. So I believe the process need to be taken care of it, and this such system is a very having less cost, no much cost, because in the digitalization, if you are using the platform, the cost is there when you are developing yourself. If you're not developing, you are using a common pool account or common platform, like trade boot platform is there. If you're using that platform, is hardly cost of it. It's a trade is not to 0.10 basic point, and any annual commitment charges very small amount, and you are making efficiency of in the transaction per transaction of 50 cents. So that's the technology going to evolve, and I think the Western European world has already brought in, and now it's time for the India, and India will utilize this efficiency. I know that this India will always be a taker in the more technology part, and I believe that when we started the emails, and that used to be, it take 2 3 times, 2 3 years, and by 2003 all people are using the email system. Now I believe that this also a simulation of the, or you can say kind of the email conversion system of the technology platform. So you can utilize this communication skill in the platform, so it will give that more lots efficiency.
So I would thank you, Dheeraj. I would like to summarize what Dheeraj has said. Two, three things which is more important, most important is that it is a SaaS model, or it's a cloud-based model where you pay per use, like pay per month or pay per use. So economically, it is going to be very, very low cost. That is one thing. Secondly, the such a platform encompasses everything, right from contract making to e-bill of lading to ELC to e-inspection or e-insurance. So all the documentation will also happen online, including the KYC of the buyer and seller. So all the documentation will be available online, whereby sort of time and increasing efficiency, whereby resulting in working capital efficiency for the buyer and seller. So this is what I think Viral wanted to say. I've said it in two lines.
Yes.
Now I would like to put in the same question to Mr. Sandeep. Suppose I know as he's tried to explain. Suppose you as a buyer or a manufacturer, you were to join. Would you feel very happy to join such platform? Like Mr. Moni has said that Dubai is almost 80% ready. Dubai, everything is almost digitalized. There is no manual intervention at all in Dubai. What Mr. Monir says. So in India, where do you see us? How fast do you feel that smaller companies will be able to join such platforms?
Yeah.
Over to Sandeep.
Basically, there is no doubt. Basically, because like adopting this type of systems will make any MSME very efficient, and it is also saving money at the same time. And see, India is going through a transformation. It's going through a transformation phase, and a lot of like if I talk about metals also, MSMEs and other business houses, they are now dependent on the metal trade being held in the exchanges actually. Surprisingly, even during this pandemic situation, uh, the exchange trading was going on, and wherein the physical market was almost standstill. So basically, why this was possible, just because like things are all online and digitized. So this had helped a lot to MSMEs and other stakeholders. So even when the whole world was at a standstill, the trading was being carried. And as far as this the technology which Dheeraj had explained, so basically, it's like it's foolproof, and there is very less scope of any human error or any fraud or basically. So like the transactions would be done in real time basis. So that is definitely going to help a lot. So I think uh, as Dheeraj told that at one point of time there was a time lag of say 2 days, 3 days emailing and those things. But in this blockchain, there is a trail of all the like it's a distributed network, not the centralized also. So I think that should be a big success. It will take time. It is slow in adaptability, but I think the future is that only.
So thank you, Sandeep. Thanks for your kind words and knowledgeable words. I think all of you all, Mr. Aprame, with your digitization of the whole of the organization. Mr. Monir, which he feels that Dubai or Gulf countries are already digitized to a great extent. Sandeep wants to see India going ahead with digitization. And Dheeraj is there ready to help all kinds of MSME units and industry to get onto this digitization bandwagon as fast as possible. Anybody would like to make concluding remarks, or Dheeraj, would you like to say something, or Mr. Monir or Aparame, anybody for 2 minutes if you, yeah, Mr. Dheeraj, please.
No, I think Upper May will take first. And
Mr. Dheeraj, please, Mr.
Yeah.
Aparame, please.
No, I just, in fact, everything has been said and summarized well, Sunilji. But I think, so if the key takeaways from this discussion is this, that we all understand how important digitization is. Coming to the trade part of it, commodity trade part of it, I believe that if our brokers and industry participants have digitized, then as organizations we cannot be left behind. If at all, we should be the leading examples how to digitize things. E-commerce is one part of it. Blockchain is another part of it. And in fact, I've been looking after exports, and it's so difficult to have anything digitized in exports because the number of agencies involved: the supplier, the inland transporter, CHA, CFS, inspection agency, freight forwarder, shipping line, banks. I mean, if pardon me if I missed any, but there are too many agencies, right? So even if one chain breaks, here we're talking about change management in an organization. Imagine the number of organizations you have. So even if you change one vendor or one chain breaks or does not use a digital platform, then your investment and your system gets broken, right? So in fact, on this platform, I would like to invite, people like, Dheeraj, you said blockchain, but I have, a few things that I want to be in blockchain. It is for bank to bank and negotiation, and I think it is still growing, and we welcome this kind of concept. Is that if there is a third party who can take care of all these things from the digitization point of view, right? Bring everyone together in the value chain when you want to export something. I think there is a great business opportunity, and many organizations, our organization surely, but many organizations would like to see someone taking care of and digitizing the whole thing, and also making sure that it works. It's very easy to digitize something, but making sure that this works, and then we don't have to keep a whole back office, a big team, just to monitor the documentation. So that's what I wanted to touch upon.
I think very rightly said by
Mr. Monir, Dheeraj, let Mr. Monir say, then maybe you can have the Mr. Monir, do you have anything to
Yes,
say? Concluding remarks, or
I
you would like
wanted to.
Dheeraj to complete?
It is impossible to have everything digitalized in our life. As you know, for a fact, there are trucks to be driven, there are material to be sorted, there are people who has the talents of distinguishing the material and sorting, loading, unloading. Especially I'm talking for the scrap material, which comes in bulk, not the finished goods. Finished goods is easy to handle, easy to store, easy to make a mechanism for it. But when you deal about solid waste, which we are talking about base metals, it comes mixed together. And sorting it as much as you go technically, like you have a big shredder, goes by lasers and by light and by reflections and by weight sorting, the density, it still, you cannot mechanize 100% of the workflow. But the repeated one, which is like doesn't need the intelligence of a human, that can be mechanized. Accuracy, actually the system is not innovative. The system is not as smart as a human, but the system is supersonic fast. What you calculate a simple mathematical calculation, which may take you manually maybe a few minutes, or for some other people, few hours, if it is a long. The system will do it for you in a fraction of a second. So it is a super fast. We have to involve our life in all of the levels with the digitalization, with the computer science, artificial intelligence, yes, for our homes and offices and everywhere we go. But remember, who has made that system? It's the human. So there is nothing as comparing to the human touch.
Okay. Mr. Dheeraj, would you like to complete now? Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to brief my all participant over here is this topic is about digitalization commodity. And all the panelists has said about this is a now becoming a life of everyone to utilize the technology in each segments. So what now we are talking about the commodity. I would like to mention to each my participant, let's find out the solution available in the market and how you are bringing a efficiency in your system. Technology is a lot of technology may be there, but you have to find who's bringing the value addition, what value addition you are getting it. And in commodity space, whether from buying to sell to consume to transport, entire all segments are here. And I would like to mention to each participant, there are technology available now in the market and using efficiently. There are 4 5 vendors are there, which are having a such kind of solution where you can complete digitalize your trade. You are not trading, you are digitalizing your trade. Whatever the trade you are having, you are digitalizing and making a value addition in your working capital. One is complete fraud management tracking system, because we have seen in the various trade, because of malfunctioning by the employee, lot of things are happening. And even in the technology, we can one click of button, you can have a MIS reporting also. So complete sense whether in the entire, if you I talk about the business, it's a complete trade. First, you digitalize your trade. Whatever the trades are having, contract management, e-signature management. You can have a then marketplace for the shipping. Then you can have a marketplace for insurance. Then you can marketplace for a inspection agency. Then you can have the e-invoicing, e-shipping, e-bill, e-BL, or e-inspections certificate. Then you can talk about the LC. You can have an immediate LC issuance. Then a document management through the platform. And if it is happening, I can tell you, this is a bringing a new paradigm shift in the commodity. We are using a commodity segment in 300-year-old process entirely. 300-year-old process, a paper format. If we are using such a proper technological format, using a algorithm based, using a artificial intelligence, using a blockchain, I can bet you will improve a lot of system. It's not only you, every people in the system, whether it's a buyer or whether it's a seller or whether it's a shipping company or whether it's an insurance company, whether it's an inspection company or whether it's a bank, every people in the connected area in the trade will be going to benefit, and that benefit will generate the revenue to the our exchanger, to the entire economy. I can give you guarantee, India has a $800 billion transaction across border in inbound and outbound. If this happens entire in total in 2 years time or 3 years time or 4 years time, we can increase our GDP growth by 30% more. So that's in, like, we can immediately see it, how the GDP will grow, and this turnover, 700 billion turnover, immediately can reach to the 1200 billion turnover, 1 trillion of them. So we can see the capabilities of the technology. India itself using the technology, we are having a 60% share market in the GDP. Now I can see in the trade also, whatever the 40% we are contributing the GDP, let's contribute to the 50 or 60% equal to that, utilizing that technology. That is the point which we wanted to grow. And in the world, entire world, having a $700 trillion transaction. I'm telling you that 700 trillion world transactions, cross border transactions going to happen, then it's a paradigm shift going to be there, and people will going to be benefit immensely. And this, I'm telling you, this was not it far. Just a year before, the concept has been utilized, concept has came in the market, and now more than 80 banks are there in such kind of platform, and 400 big corporates are there in such kind of platform, in different platforms. And now I can see the speed up within a 2 years time. Every people, every commodity people, buying and selling people will utilize such technological platform. I'm saying explore in the market, utilize in the market, go the with the upper name about using e-commerce, use the other blockchain kind of platform. We have the trade reboot platform also, that is a complete in the digitalization, LC management, even trade finance, in the pay tech, insurance tech, lot of commodity solutions are there in the trade route. So believe that this is the new beginnings to each and everyone. Let's bring this India in the Atmanirbhar Bharat and digital India in two sense. We cannot complete our digital India unless until we utilize our technology in the commodity, in the shipping. So let's utilize commodity in the shipping, in the insurance, in the other areas, so that only will be complete ourselves a true digital India and true digital world. That is my point to each and everyone.
If I would like to have a chance to speak, I can.
Thank you so much. I think last 1 minute.
Regarding the regulatory of the digitalized business in the commodity, it is worldwide, and every country has its own procedures and regulations. But if we talk about difference in opinion, we have to go back to a certain body or a regulatory where can we go.
Mr. Monir, sorry to interrupt. I think that question would take a lot of time to answer, and we are close to the time. So if you don't mind, can we take it offline?
Okay,
Yeah?
just one statement.
We'll take this
Just
question
one line.
offline.
Basically, we can
Yeah,
also
please.
use this
Yeah,
technology
please, Sandeep,
in
please.
our association. It's non-profitable organization, but still, like there are many things which can be authenticated by this type of technology, like KYC of members and those things actually. So this can be used for by non-profitable organization as
Very
well.
true.
Thank you.
Yes,
Very
very
true.
good. Very
So
good.
we'll take some of these questions offline. We will get back to you all. Thank you very much, everybody, Mr. Monir, Mr. Sandeep, Mr. Aprame, and Mr. Dheeraj. Thank you so much for the valuable insights, and look forward to having such more meetings later on.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Pleasure.
Thank you very
Best
much.
Thank you
everyone.
very much.